The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. The opinions expressed do not reflect this station or any affiliated partners. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geek EZ.
Just talking? Well, what's the show about? It's about nothing.
Well, duh. And we're live. We're back.
I could get a Ferengi energy whip from the Lobi Crystal Trader.
Oh, hey, it's playing again, by the way.
No, it's not. It just went back inning for some reason.
Well, yeah, it's like we completely forgot of a very key component to our staff.
Yes, a very big component. The guy that actually broadcast the audio.
Did he actually get any of what we had said before?
No, we sat there and we robbled and robbled and robbled for no reason whatsoever.
Well, now we have to start all over again.
We do.
Okay.
Robble.
Oh, let's
Much
see.
robble.
Like I
Wow.
said before, the opening credits ran and no one heard us because we were not actually broadcasting audio. I guess it's gonna be Orville. I mean, I did not get to watch the entire episode of the Orville. I don't know why. I don't remember why. I have it saved so I can go back and watch it.
You were a good one.
I did see Discovery, and we will definitely talk about Discovery.
Indeed.
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 So there's that, and I'm sure there's other stuff out there floating around that I'm completely unaware of. Did I miss something, Alistair, with the Nerdist? Are they literally like stalking Mark Hamill at this point?
No, they're just, like they've hit the end of their rope, and now they're just like putting out really, really stupid, reaching articles about Star Wars, the Last Jedi, because I guess they've run out of stuff to talk about.
Interesting. Well, because
we're not going to do that.
we got a couple of days before the new stuff starts showing up. So they're saying, no, we don't do that. We speculate and stuff, but we don't jump all over every little tiny thing and go, we take
So much
everything with a
work.
grain of salt.
It's too much work to come up with BS like that.
Oh my God! Right?
If you're going to put that much work in it, you might as well cover the actual thing.
Well, what do you want to talk about first, Orville or Trek?
Oh,
About the one that we didn't watch. Most of us didn't watch. I didn't
No,
watch.
you didn't watch Discovery?
No, Orville.
Oh, okay. Well, who watched the Orville?
I did.
I did.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you guys could have a conversation.
Okay.
No,
well,
go ahead.
I thought it was an interesting amalgam of several classic.
Yeah, there was a lot of
classic
different Trek scripts combined.
Yeah, but but it managed to stay rather unique, which I liked. So I enjoyed it yet again.
Oh, I thought it was good. Interesting use of Liam Neeson's. The Liam Neesons.
Well, that was a nice surprise for sure.
But next week we apparently get a Charlize Theron.
Oh yeah, baby! Tomorrow night. Oh yeah, I can hardly wait. And isn't this the one that Frakes directed?
I believe so.
Oh, then it's going to be even better.
He is a good director.
Oh yes, he is. Frakes directing Charlize Theron. Oh man, yeah, it's gonna be a fun episode.
Yeah, I saw the episode up until what's her name got shot and the first officer got taken.
Well, it was
And-
just getting
and then-
going, man. It was just getting started.
I know.
Oh man. No, it was a wonderful amalgam of a number of different classic Trek stories, like the Apple and help me out here.
The one where the asteroid people in McCoy
For the world,
sick.
yeah, for the world is hollow and I have touched the sky. There was a big chunk of that in there. Return of the Archons was kind of in there. Because you had this religion that people didn't want to deny. And it was all just a misconception over thousands of years. People who had lost their spoken history and it turned it into a religion. And so it was really a nice episode, and the big reveal at the end with Liam Neeson was super cool, and the fact that they then reveal everything to the folks on this vessel, and man, the looks on their faces.
Well, I will have to go back and watch the episode.
Yeah, really good. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot, and peppered with the usual style of humor as well.
There's probably a lot of folks complaining about the fact that they're pulling so much Trek into it. That they're reusing so much of it, I should say.
They're doing kind of a Twilight Zone-y twist on some of the classic Trek stories.
There's also only so much you can do with that style show if you're trying to, I don't want to say ape Trek, but honor Trek in a certain way.
Well, it's only the first season, and it's only the third episode, and I think eventually, once they, lay a decent foundation underneath themselves, then we'll see them start to stretch a little creatively.
Well, the way
They
I would
might
see
be.
it is
They're playing
that-
it safe.
Yeah, sure they are. Of course they are.
I was going to say, the way I'd see it is the case of if you're going to be using those stories, why not? People are going to complain regardless.
Right, so what the hell?
Well, there's that. Here we go. We're 9 minutes into it, and we're pretty much done with the Orville stuff.
Well,
But it's okay, because we're going to dive
will
into
say-
the Discovery stuff.
I will say this about Orville. I keep hoping that they'll start dropping more threads for a more overarching story, and they haven't yet. Other than some, I guess, technically the Krill situation.
Still love the krill.
Yeah, that's fun. I mean, they got a nice mention in this episode, but beyond that, we really
Well, it's
didn't
just
see
a
a lot
name.
of the krill. Oh, I know, right?
Now, I mean, if you really technically think about it, though, I mean, Star Trek has Klingons. They named an alien race after something that you want to get away with toilet paper.
Right?
So, I mean, if we're going to go down that road, but
People need to just chill.
they do. But I think the chill is going to go, like, the lack of chill is going to appear as we start talking about Discovery this week.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, I already know. I did not join into our Facebook chat or group chat about the Discovery episode because I wanted to wait till we got here because, for one, I didn't want to get blasted. And two, I was really busy. But I did actually sit and watch it. I sat down and I watched the whole thing. This is I did not watch this episode twice like I had watched the other ones. First, let's go down the line. Who liked this week's episode?
I did.
I did.
I enjoyed it.
Nope.
I mean, we'll get into it obviously more, but
Yes.
it's definitely Trek, but not Trek, though.
Yeah.
It's definitely darker.
See, I'm the other way around. I look at it and I go, this is definitely not Trek.
Well,
Depends
Well,
on
I-
which of the series you go by, because some of the DS9 ones were pretty gritty.
Agreed. But this is just, I don't know. This latest episode just seemed like a mess to me.
It did.
Like they were trying to, jam 50 pounds of crap into a 10-pound bag. It just didn't work.
There was stuff that I did enjoy. There was some stuff. I mean, a lot of the other things were like it's some of it felt Trek. A lot of it did not. And there were some things like the Gorn skeleton and the Tribble, and everybody else was like, "Oh, look, I know that. I recognize that." That was nothing more than a visual reach around at that point.
That's all it was.
And I think my biggest issue, and this is because I know you guys have your own opinions of it, and I'll say mine, and then you guys can rip me apart for it in that way. And I don't care. I'm waiting for it. It was full of cliches.
Yep.
There is not a single character. I understand that a flawed character is dramatic. It gives much more room to work with on a writing standpoint. But when every single character, there is one character on that show right now that he is exactly who he is on the outside and on the inside, and that's Soru.
Yep.
What about
I love his character.
I love his character too. I really enjoy his character, and he's the only character on that show that I enjoy. The rest,
Tilly so far has been exactly who she says she is.
Tilly, but again, she's flawed.
But it was trope-tastic.
Then again, we're all flawed.
Oh my God! It's almost like we're all perfect and nobody should ever be.
But
flawed.
it's not.
It's
No.
almost
That's
like
not
they
what I mean.
wrote real
That's not right.
people.
It's almost like and I'm just going to go ahead and point this out because one, I know Jim, you're going to complain about the spore drive.
Yeah.
Man, it'd be kind of stupid if somebody came up with some idea of detonating, an Adion burst and creating a soliton wave. Oh wait, they did that in TNG.
Okay,
No. I'm still getting to my point. This is Star Trek. This is doing nothing no more than any other series of Star Trek is. The reason you're saying it's cliche is because it's Star Trek. Because it's stuff that Star Trek has done. It's as though you expected it to be Star Trek, but not Star Trek at the same time. You've literally given it a catch-22. You want it to be Star Trek, but if it does something that is Star Trek, you're going to point out that it's been done before or that it's not being done right.
That's the problem. It's not if you're going to, I have no problem with that. But the captain, the mysterious captain, these are tropes that are being played to their full. We already started with Michael Burnham, who is a flawed character. She has a damage, not flawed, damaged, where her parents were killed. They just piled it on top of her, where she now, the world is out to get her. Everybody hates her. She started a war. She's a mutineer. So they just piled it on and keep piling it on. And then you put her inside of a crew with an engineer who is another walking cliche because he is so smart, therefore he has no social skills whatsoever. You have another cliche in the cadet that is either autistic or has self-esteem issues.
Daddy Kathy.
And then you go into the captain who is you live by his rules or no rule. And this is not just Star Trek. This is a trope all the way across all sci-fi and actually any military thing, where I don't mind these kind of characters if they play them in a way that hasn't been done before, but it's literally like they just went through the well, what do we do now with this guy? And we do this. And again, this episode lost me because of all of that played out. And yeah, the spore drive kind of bothered me because it was interesting.
Was it anything any more out there and ridiculous than you would have seen in any episode of the original series?
No, look, it's like this.
You can't answer the question, so you're getting ready to know it's this.
No. Wait. This is a point I've been waiting to make, and I see my opening. So here it is. The spore drive was beautiful to look at. It was an amazing concept, but this is the kind of thing that they should stumble over on some alien world, not something that they came up with, because it negates everything else that they're going to do, because now they can just step into a chamber and go, here I am.
But it's not going to work.
But okay, no. Okay, again, I recall an episode of Enterprise where a gentleman was incredibly hyped about transporter technology and how it was going to make starships obsolete. And where did that go?
If I remember correctly,
Nowhere.
though, he was lying from the beginning because he was trying to rescue his son.
No,
Right.
he wasn't. He was first trying to rescue his son, but he was lying about the whole transporter.
No,
thing.
he was. He admitted that it was a dead end and he knew it.
I don't
true, he
recall
did.
that.
I
Yeah, he
watched
did
this
say it.
episode within the last 2 months.
Now, do I think the spore drive is cool? It's a definite. It was like, okay, that's different. It was different.
Oh, it was a handful of eye candy. I'm not questioning that. That was super cool.
But it started touching into the metaphysical, which Star
But
Trek
it did-
does tie into.
but it just didn't fit to me. For me,
As long as it's
okay,
not an
me,
ongoing arc.
For you, you might love it and say that's the most coolest thing ever. But for me, I went, "What is this?"
Now, again, new technologies being tried out, definitely cool on Star Trek. I had that really didn't bother me. Some of it felt a little like they were going down the Star Wars route for some reason. I don't know why. It had that feel for me because of the medical physical. No, because the metaphysical aspects of the way the spore drive worked, that you really thought it and you were there, that kind of thing.
Right.
That kind of felt a little off because Star Trek has always been much more technologically grounded, and the spore drive seems very science fiction to me compared to the other stuff we've seen on Star Trek. Even though it's all science fiction, it's not science fantasy. And this felt more on the fantastical side, which Star Trek has never really been.
Right. And unless they stumble over it on some alien world.
And to be honest, the episode bored me from the get-go. It really wasn't an interesting episode.
Not at all. Not at all.
That's the only problem I had with it.
You know, the fight in the mess hall. I mean, there was another trope right there. You know, oh, she's a badass and can stand on
And
her
I
own.
could go ahead and just point out the biggest flaw, and all your guys both are. You are continuously comparing it to other things. You are not letting it be its own entity.
But it's not trying to.
It's not trying to.
No. It is totally trying to. You won't let it be. You won't let it be Star Trek Discovery. It has to stand up to this idea you have in your head.
It has to fit.
It has to fit, but you don't want it to fit. You're literally nitpicking everything. And I guarantee you, in 10 years,
Gentlemen.
if we're still talking, you're going to have this conversation. You're going to have completely flipped around.
See, you're putting words in my mouth here.
You are. You're doing the same for me.
Hold on, gentlemen.
I want it to fit like crazy, and it's not happening for me. Now, look, I continue to say, for me. For you obviously think it's fantastic. It's wonderful. You love it. It's off the chain. You're enjoying the hell out of it, and that's awesome for you.
It's great.
That's great. Go enjoy yourself. I'm not going to step on that at all, but I'm saying for me, in my little world, it is a square peg being hammered into a round hole.
So, ground rules here. No punching below the belt.
No.
And no selling Wolfie's card. That's my job.
Okay, as we go.
Why is it always my car?
Okay. I won't. Okay, from here, this is so everybody knows this.
Must have a higher
my
resale
opinion of something is my opinion.
Right.
I don't wish I'm not trying to force Alistair, definitely not trying to force it on you because I know you enjoyed the episode, and you guys really did. But I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm just trying to say, in my eyes, I saw this. And like Jim said, they came out and they made all of these claims about a show of a prequel. And this is the same reason the Star Wars prequels had problems. It's because people wanted it to fit. And there was so much to this day that still doesn't fit exactly right. So while it's still Star Wars, it has its own thing. That's why Rogue One worked better than the prequels did, because Rogue One fit better. It's like they try to tie it to the existing stories better than Lucas did from the get-go. Even The Force Awakens, while it's still Star Wars, has a different taste to it. It's like, okay, you know what? It's like Coke and Pepsi. They're both colas, but one tastes different than the other. So it's not a bad
and not
thing.
to say right, and not to say that either one is more delicious than the other. It's
Well,
apples
Coke
and
is
oranges.
better,
Well,
Get out.
You shut your whore mouth.
they're both
I will let you be wrong about Star Trek, but if you're wrong about Pepsi, I will murder you.
they're both delicious in
I'll
their
help.
own way, and I will toggle back and forth on both products. Okay, but this particular iteration of Star Trek just feels for me. But remember, I grew up in the '60s. Okay, I'm the old man on the crew. All right,
Yeah.
so cut me some slack here. But I grew up on this stuff. All right, and it feels off to me. It doesn't seem to toggle in with everything
I
else.
think maybe
It's like trying to jam a Mega Block into a Lego or vice versa.
Well,
it
I
just
would like
doesn't
to-
fit.
I think maybe the issue here is, and I'm very, very sorry for how this is going to sound.
Okay.
You and Adam are older. Okay?
Oh,
There's
ouch.
no diplomatic to that.
So,
Ouch.
me and Woofy,
Ooh,
we're younger
ow.
and we're kind of sort of a little bit more open to more ideas.
What? No, it's not, and it's not that we're not open either. I'm.
Jim,
Man, I
Adam,
don't-
you need to roll your Constitution saves
Get off my lawn!
because I'm pretty
I
sure that he
understand
just
where he's
rolled
coming
damage
from.
on that.
I understand where I was just coming from for that one.
Yeah,
And
no,
you know
I
what?
get it. I get it.
When
I just
Discovery was
wanna-
first announced,
I just want to
Go
point
ahead.
out we're talking about flawed characters, and this is
Yeah.
something that a lot of TOS people miss. Kirk spends that entire series on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
Not to mention, but
yeah,
He
if,
literally has one in one episode, and for no reason whatsoever takes the ship across the neutral zone.
not to mention, if we're
No, that was the
going,
plan.
if
That
we're
was-
going
that
to
was all a
discuss
ruse.
tropes,
It was
if
all
we're
a
going to discuss
ruse.
tropes,
okay,
while he was not the originator of the trope, Kirk has sort of become the spokesperson for large ham.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
and you know what? Some tropes work when they do it. I mean, I think the issue I'm having, it's like when I say things, it just doesn't seem to fit right. Even though Enterprise had a more futuristic look, people complained about that when it first came out in 2001. People were like, "How is that spot? I mean, look how futuristic this looks compared to the 60s one." When they actually did, and I still have my issues, but they tried and they put the two together. They actually put them on a Constitution class vessel, and while it still looked cheesy, it still kind of worked. And even, I mean, Enterprise works if you suspend disbelief on the original series enough that what we see in the films is not that big an upgrade compared to the 60s. Like the Enterprise refit is it's if you take the TOS Enterprise out, the Enterprise from Enterprise to the TOS refit works. And then you go on from there. Whereas now we go from the NX-01 to Discovery to the TOS Enterprise, and it's like it was like jumping from the 1920s to the 1990s back to the 1950s or 60s, and it's just weird. It's like the technology, visual stuff, and the way things are done, and the way things are talked about, the way people talk. While Enterprise was closer to our century, I could understand them talking, but then you add 100 years to that. There should be a change in the way, in the vernacular, the way people address each other, the casual way of speaking. That's the one thing that the other Star Treks did better. There seemed to be an education level that, not an education level, eloquence level that went up in the way people spoke, even in casual situations. There was a more eloquent way of speaking, whereas there's been a lot of now speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And not only that, but the level of anxiety and the level of anger in a particular show is
I can understand that. It's wartime.
Yeah, but it's disconcerting, I guess.
I don't
know.
mind. I don't mind some of it. I mean, it's dark. It is
Some
dark.
some of it I understand, but it just seems I don't know. Like I said, it's like trying to jam a Lego into a Mega Block. It just doesn't seem to fit.
It's not seems, it doesn't.
When the show before the show aired, I voiced when we had Doug on here, and I was scared that they were going to go, and I told him, no offense to him, the darkness route of the new Battlestar Galacticas, because Star Trek was always about rising above everything and hope for the future, even through Enterprise and stuff. Now we've only been 3 episodes in, so I don't know what the hope is yet for Discovery. I don't know where that light at the end of the tunnel is for them, because there doesn't seem to be one.
Yeah, there's like
the
a
best-
hopelessness, and that
The
bothers me.
best episode of DS9 and possibly the best episode of any series, though, is literally about not rising up and not being above the fray.
Is that the one where Cisco orders the the assassination?
Yes.
Then the Pale Moonlight.
Yeah. Wasn't that episode more about showing the hard choice that has to be made?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's right up there with Archer jamming somebody into an airlock to get him to talk.
Yeah.
Or
But again-
Lorca beaming over a mutated tardigrade to use at some point.
Yeah.
Apparently,
I
the
don't
next
understand
episode-
what's his little zoo all about. It's just
Well,
weird.
And here's the things that I.
Well, you got to remember, he's probably like Janeway in that he was assigned command of a science vessel, usually meaning he has a scientific background.
True.
My sneaking suspicion, and that this is I guess, a somewhat popular fan theory. It's a Section 31 ship.
Yeah.
The way he behaves, the captain. I mean, granted, we're looking at this from Burnham's viewpoint. This is all from Burnham's viewpoint for this series.
True. Yeah.
But the way this captain behaves, he behaves an awful lot like Section 31 would, even though he, quote unquote, we're going to say officially, is not Section 31.
Yeah,
By any means necessary. And he said, Starfleet told him. Now, granted, it could be a case where he actually is Starfleet and the Section 31 under the guise of Starfleet that's telling him to do these things. And so he's duped. Don't know. But the way you look at it is that the captain that we had from the Shenzhou was very much your classic, stand up for the, this is how the Federation behaves. And then you have this captain who's very different. So I kind of buy into the whole Section 31 thing right now.
If that's the rabbit hole we go down, and I might be more willing to accept stories that we're getting.
Yes.
Yeah. And then that might mean what does Burnham do? Does she return to the morals and principles of the other captain, or does she go down and do by any means necessary of this captain? That might be the story arc that they're shooting for.
If they're shooting for a Section 31 where he is Shadow Ops, I'll believe what's going on right now a lot more. Because it makes more sense once that's part of the story. Because right now,
You ever seen a black Starfleet insignia?
The what?
Ever seen a black Starfleet insignia? It's a line in the show.
Yes, on
Yes.
Burnham's jumpsuit.
That wasn't on Burnham's.
Wasn't
Yes,
on
Burnham's jumpsuit in that exact scene has a black Starfleet badge on it.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
but
so does
that's
the
on
guy
Her
that walks
orange
by.
prison jumpsuit.
Not that one. It's the security guy.
It's the
But
security
she
guard.
has one as well. It's different,
No.
but it's still black.
No, she didn't. It was not black.
It's subdued, whereas the security guards, was black and kind of shiny. So I'm assuming that the one that she's wearing is just indicative of being a Starfleet
I think it's just
prisoner.
a silk screen on top of her jumpsuit just to show that she is a Starfleet prisoner, not...
No, it's raised up.
Is it raised up?
Yeah, it looked raised up if I remember right.
Either way, she's
Yeah,
a prisoner, so I mean, she's not going to have a regular badge on. It's not going to have any rank or anything
It
on it.
didn't look black to me. It looked silver, but okay.
But the guy
Yeah,
that
maybe
walked
dark
by
silver.
had a black one.
Yeah,
So
his was
things
different.
like that. There's something definitely going on with the ship. I'll give it that. The story, but the actual whole, I don't know. It it didn't blow my skirt up because it was kind of like, okay, I'm waiting for something more to happen, and nothing more happened, and it was like, "Ah!"
We did only have an hour, and they're doing the DS9. Every episode kind of ties into each other. By the way, that creature that's running around, no, that's a definite no. Don't want any of that.
Yeah, and he's got doesn't he have it trapped in a cell right now?
Mm-hmm.
So, and what up with that?
Oh, they're gonna let it loose in the next episode, probably on a bunch of Klingons.
That's why he has a tribble.
I did kind of enjoy that little nod.
He has a tribble, so he can tell if anybody's a Klingon agent or not.
See? Section 31, that's very paranoid.
Yes. He's paranoid.
Now, again, I'd like her jumpsuit with a black raised Starfleet badge.
It's more green.
Now there's a nit that we can pick right there, because wasn't it Kirk that discovered that the tribbles react negatively to Klingons? Now, I suppose they could say, well, it was so long ago that this little piece of information was forgotten and never recorded.
Or it could be that Section 31 kept that secret because they didn't want the Klingons knowing that they knew it.
Well, and it takes us back the idea that maybe it is a Section 31 ship.
If he is a xenobiologist, he could be aware of things that people like Kirk wouldn't be, since tribbles weren't widely known before.
Right. So
K7.
Sure, but this takes us back to the idea that maybe it is a Section 31 ship. Now, if, like I said, if that's the rabbit hole they decide to go down, then I'm in. I'm in at that point.
And that's kind of how I'm treating it right now. Just because, remember, we're experiencing it at the same time that Burnham's experiencing it, so we don't really know any more than she does.
My biggest gripe, honestly, with that episode is I do not like the boots, at least on Lorca. They looked like sneakers.
I didn't like the engineer, the way he, that whole,
he's
right
a
there.
Douche.
Well, that whole intelligent person with no social skills thing.
He's also apparently not a Starfleet officer.
Hence why this backs up the idea that it's a Section 31
officer.
No, the way he talks makes it seem like he's a civilian researcher. And Starfleet,
drafted.
That's basically co-opted him. Basically, he's been drafted because of the war.
Which is why Lorca had to chew him out.
Starfleet officer.
Yes, but he has not received training. He's basically this researcher guy who's been, jammed in this position.
You want an example of that, Wolfie? You've probably run into them. Doctors in the Army.
Aren't they lieutenants right off the bat?
Yes, but they're still officers.
Oh, no, they can skip the lieutenant part.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, they start in as majors.
Really?
Yes.
No, most of the ones I dealt with were captains.
I've seen offers for majors, so...
And that's just because of their education level, right? Yes.
They still have to eventually go through, the officer courses, but what makes them up professionally is not going to be the officer side of things. So if this guy, this engineer, is a civilian, which, again, backs up the whole Section 31 thing, because co-opted, and it's secret research, then his behavior is going to reflect that. He's not going to reflect being, the traditions and values of a Starfleet officer. He's going to have the behaviors and actions that a civilian researcher would have done, and they got away with a lot more crap than you would as an actual kind of military-esque mindset.
Yeah, that does make sense.
That
makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, he's totally a douche. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, he was an absolute ass.
But he does. You notice he does respect intelligence, so he begrudgingly. So
I have to admit, I did like that little moment where he goes, "It's not like we have assigned seating."
I don't know now. The like I said, the way he talked, he seems like it was like they put Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory in a position of power, and I was like, oh dear God.
I should also point out that we've had the similar thing before. DS9, we had the geniuses.
Which genius?
The augmented geniuses.
The augmented geniuses.
Yes. But again, it was they seem to think that the higher your intelligence level goes up, the less your social levels go up as well.
Well, that's the augmented guys. That's a different.
But that's another trope.
It is,
and what it is it's kind of a poke at autism. I think a little bit the people that are in the Asperger's range.
Possibly.
No, the augments on DS9 though were flawed. That was the whole point.
Like this new show we've got out now, The Good Doctor. Has anyone watched that?
No.
An autistic guy who's gone through medical school and he's now a surgeon intern. And this is the same kid that was in the remake Willy Wonka that played Charlie. He's all grown up now, doing a fantastic job.
He was also Norman Bates on Bates Motel.
Ah, right. Okay, so the show is really good. It's taking a really good look at autism and how people react to it in a professional situation. No, there's no but. It's going to be interesting to see how this guy functions in a hospital atmosphere when he's trying to do the right thing. And the thing is, he's smarter than everybody else there. So you've got a whole lot of butthurt and threatened people.
Oh, you mean like House?
It's from the same creator.
Same principle.
But he's not like House because he's not an a-hole. He's just very blunt, which is a reflection of his autism. So it's
many people would say House behaves like he has some form of Asperger's.
Yeah, I know.
And considering that House is based on Sherlock Holmes, who most people hold up as one of the perfect examples of Asperger's,
might not be wrong.
It's going to be an interesting show. So I'm going to check out a few episodes of that. But the premiere episode was pretty damn good. But I feel like we're seeing a lot more of this now. It pleases me no end because I have 2 kids on the spectrum, and it's nice to see that putting some things out there to get people to have a look at this and try to understand it better, which is really important to me. It's really important that people try to understand and be thoughtful.
See, and that works out too if you think about it. I mean, you guys complain a little bit that everyone's flawed, broken, or something, whatever. Okay, not broken. But you get the idea. That they all have some kind of problem. The cadet, who's very clearly got a disorder of some sort. She says as much. Again, bringing up awareness. This is something that Trek... So that's very Trek.
I'll give you that.
I actually thought her character was kind of cute. I liked her character. It was something that you don't typically see. And I was pleased to see it. You know, someone fresh out of the academy, nervous as hell, and trying to please everyone.
And the world is still sunshine and rainbows.
Right, and she's still jazzed to be on the show, basically. So she's talking all the time. When she gets nervous, so because she's nervous all the time, she's talking all the time, and she doesn't shut up.
And now that we've met the character, I can say, knowing that in the few episodes coming up somewhere along the line, she's the one that drops the first F-bomb on the show, it makes kind of sense.
Makes sense.
Because it's not even make sense in the Star Trek world. But...
Well, should Trek have it? No, but it does make sense if she says it. I mean, we did
That's
have
the eloquent side of things.
We got shit in the 3rd episode.
She seems like someone that would blurt.
Well, again, we also had Data who did it in the movies.
To me, the reason I'm not upset with the use of language like that in Star Trek is quite simply because that language is not going to go away in 200, 300,
no,
400
it's not.
years.
It's not.
Probably not. It's been around for a lot longer.
The only reason that it's not in any of the shows is because they couldn't have gotten away with it.
Right. Yeah, ratings, censorship, book, etc., etc.
But you talk about people that are on the spectrum. Barclay clearly was on the spectrum.
True.
He's got issues.
No, when it comes down to the films could have done it, but it's looking at your audience and getting as many butts into the seats as possible,
right.
And therefore you want to go for that kind of thing. I understand that. We got a lot of, there was some language in the films and stuff. Like you said, Data said shit. But shit is a word it doesn't have the same
double dumbass to you.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same, it's like saying the C word. one of those, it's like the F word, the C word. See, I'm saying this because we're trying to keep PG-13 here, and I'm not going to say it until after 10 o'clock anyway. But you say those words, and it's like a gut punch sometimes. It's one of those. If you want to get your point across, when you overuse it, which Star Trek dropping one or two in the show, that's fine, as long as it's not, say, what was that show I was watching? Oh, American Horror Story, the first season. They said shit probably 80 times in the first episode because they could.
You want to have that emotional impact, so you don't want to
Yeah.
overuse it.
I mean, the 6-year-old kid on the show said it, and I was just like, "Are you kidding me? Really? Just because you can put it, and you're gonna sit there and it's like every other word in the script was like, put it here, 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 and then it loses it. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't know anybody that uses that word that often.
You've never met soldiers and Marines.
Well, I've known Marines, and you know what, Marines. Yeah, and I've met sailors again.
Yeah, well,
sailor,
you haven't spent the day with me either yet.
True.
My point is,
I curse like I would make a sailor blush. Okay, when I get on a string of curses, buckle up.
This way, and not to add emphasis, but it's just the language. You have to actually force yourself not to use them when you get around civilians, and that's the toned down version you guys are getting.
there's spicy sentence enhancers.
No, I understand that. I understand it.
Just literally, you're just saying it
My
because
tongue is tingling.
no, you just say it because that's just what you do. Everyone gets it.
True.
And I would
And you know
certainly
what?
give you an example, but we don't want to drive off our one user.
I like the idea, even though Star Trek couldn't get away with it because they didn't use them because they couldn't get away with it in the way that it was being aired and or put in film. And the idea was to make money and put butts in the seats and make it so everybody can see it. I don't mind that, but on the other side of it, when you came to the idea that they don't use language like that, there's a rudeness to it. I know a lot of people will sit there and say, "Oh, there's been studies saying more intelligent people swear more." I was like, okay, if you want to have an excuse to swear more.
It was a big deal when Kirk said, "Let's get the hell out of here."
Yeah, if you want to have that conversation, I'm not getting into that one, Rab. But the idea that the rude side of it, this is where the eloquence of speech comes back into play. There are other adjectives to use, other ways to talk that do not need those spicy and salty and peppery adjectives within there.
True.
And it's not me saying, "Oh, I'm a prude and stuff," because believe me, we've all done it. I've gone off on. I mean, if I slam my hand with a hammer, believe me, if there are no children around, I have been known to say things that I'm pretty sure I made up. But it was just there. It's like, yeah, it's one of those. I understand it. And in certain situations, like I don't know how they're going to use it in the show. I know that it is an exclamation of
"Hey man!" When I'm
shock and awe.
Jody will tell you when I'm playing Angry Birds or Angry Birds 2, I develop Tourette's.
He becomes the Angry Bird. In order to understand the Angry Birds, you must become the Angry Birds.
I develop a severe case of Tourette's when I play those games.
I mean, I used to work with a guy down in Florida who, instead of the word would use F-bombs. So if he's in the middle of a sentence and he would go, or other people would go, he would use the F word.
He would go frack, frack, frack.
Yes. And it would be like, and it was, it was just the way he spoke. And I was like, okay, it's no big deal. But as long as you didn't do it in front of clients and stuff like that, because there's a way that you talk to people with an eloquence and a way
there's
that you
a time
address.
And a place. There's a time and a place for salty language.
Exactly.
I mean, I know this one guy that I worked with on a couple of shoots down at James Cawley's place, and this guy, he used the F-bomb for punctuation. It was amazing. This guy was an amazing vulgarity. Love the guy, but it was more than I could handle, and man, I can curse. But this guy went, "Is a little over the top, don't you think?"
I think we should just make up new one. I mean, because slang has changed
tried
in years. There are certain words that don't get used anymore, certain curse words that don't get used anymore over the past couple of 100 years. There have been 4 or 5 that stuck, and those are the ones that we use today. They have been altered slightly, but I mean, the words are pretty much the same. You can go back 200 years and say shit, and someone would know what you're talking about. You can go back 200 years and drop an F-bomb. They know exactly what you're talking about. So yeah,
How
that
dare
kind of
you
stuff.
say fornic like that?
Yes, but there are other swears and other words that were rude and not used or in polite society that don't exist anymore.
Right, and you use them now, and people go, "Huh?"
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, maybe in 200. I mean, that's the idea. I think that was what was cool about Battlestar Galactica is they found ways around that by making up their own. I mean, to this day, people use frack instead of F-bombs because of it.
I think it's all a whole lot of Felger carb.
Yeah, there you go, Felder.
I
That
don't
was
get it.
yeah. Now, since we're still on Discovery, can we talk about how awesome Saru is or Saru?
Oh,
Yes.
I
The
absolutely
character-
adore his character.
Dude, he is like one of the best aliens that Star Trek has ever come up with.
I agree. He is so smart and effete and so eloquent and so disciplined.
Why don't you just marry him?
And well, I do live in Vermont, so
In this,
Do
oh,
things
dear
differently
God.
here.
Isn't that like? Isn't that xeno? I don't think you can do that. Are you a xenosexual? Is that what it's called? Xenosexual.
you know, considering all of the variants, I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
I'm sure it's out there, but you'd end up on the Inquirer. I married an alien, or the Weekly World News. But no, it was in this entire cast of characters that are all over the place. From and he came right out. He goes, "You're dangerous. You are one of the best Starfleet officers, but you're he puts it out there. He says what he means, and it's straightforward. But there's an endearing quality to the character that,
Well, he's the only level-headed person, it seems, on the whole damn ship.
yeah,
There's no other Vulcans or pretty much
He's
hardly any other aliens.
I
per
know,
se.
right? But he seems to be the most together individual out of the whole ensemble.
No,
And I
as a
think-
side note,
And I think that's what makes him super cool.
we do have some comments here in the chat from Firefly. So he's talking about, I think the cadet said that it sounded an awful lot like Abby from NCIS, who is leaving that particular building. So that character's leaving that show.
Oh,
And I'm not sure what this particular one was in reference for anime fans, just so long as you don't imitate a certain red-headed flutist. Firefly, you're going to have to explain that one.
Red-headed what?
Red-headed flutist.
flautist.
Ginger
I was gonna
Piper.
say it should be flautist.
Hey, I'm reading it.
He says
you.
flutist.
He said flutist. It is flutist.
You
Flutist.
Well,
A wretched and peevish fellow.
well, I don't mean to flout, but
A wretched and peevish fellow indeed. Quite right.
Oh man, I needed something to drink. I will be right back. I just realized that my drink is empty. I got a Yoda lady.
You have failed, sir.
I have failed. Usually I
Big
have it
gun
right
with
here
you?
waiting for me.
yeah,
so
and
stupid.
that means I have to wait and go and get mine because I don't want two of us to leave at
That's
once.
true. We can't leave our mics at the same time.
That
I will
would-
leave my.
that would
It will
be-
take me no
well,
time at all.
Well, hurry up! I
will.
I have a maple breakfast stout calling my name right now.
Ooh.
That would leave us with 3 others here. Jeez, what a horrible fate.
Keep
now
the conversation going. Don't
now
talk
that-
about me behind my back.
now that I've got you,
Talk to you in front of your back.
but yeah, I think Saru is the most together character in the whole ensemble, and I think that's what's so endearing about him. I don't think we'll ever hear him swearing, for one thing, because he is so together that would almost be beneath him to break into salty language. And he really has a good take on what's going on around him. He's got a great situational awareness, all of that, and I think that's what makes him so super cool.
Use the force.
Well, and he just, as far as the design of his makeup and everything, just outstanding. And the actor they chose to play this character, he's
See how he has to walk?
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Just everything about him. I just love everything about him, and I wish everything on the show was as cool as he is. and I'm hoping they get there. You know, I'm willing to give them some time to work the bugs out, but right now I'm still on the fence. I don't know what to think, because this last episode, to me anyway, just seemed like a real mess where they were trying to jam 50 pounds of crap into a 10-pound bag. It just didn't work for me.
And I'm back.
I didn't get a per se bad feeling about the show. There are certain things that just made me go, okay. But overall, I enjoyed it, but I'm still withholding judgment because it just I'm not there.
No,
yet.
I'm
just
not there
yet.
yet.
Do I enjoy it? Yes, but it's like maybe it's just because I'm so used to the previous treks where we had ensemble casts and we actually changed viewpoints to a degree to at least among 3 characters in an episode, approximately. But the captain was almost always
not only
center,
that, but
and
it's so
that's not the
dark.
case
Can we
here.
turn the lights up just a little?
You can't, it'll hurt Lorker's eyes.
That's
It's in the show.
Said so.
He
We
said
have
so.
to turn the lights up.
Yeah,
slowly.
he did. He did say that, didn't he? So that's kind of seems like a lame excuse to me, but okay.
No, they
Still
turn the lights up slow.
engineering rock.
So I think the security chief is a psychopath.
Why?
She's clearly in love with Lorca, and I think will do anything for him.
Because that's
defi-
never shown up before.
I think she's
Nope.
going to turn out to be a total psychopath.
I don't know. Now, someone explain to me how come there was no engineer in engineering?
right.
Yeah, we didn't see a chief engineer yet.
Well, I'm pretty
They
sure
were
there
in
was an
engin-
engine. Pretty sure there were engineers in engineering. Just the chief engineer was not in engineering at the time.
Yeah, but why is the science stuff in engineering? Oh, it's
'Cause
because
it's a
they're working on a drive. Duh. Never
Yeah.
mind. Okay, it just that finally clicked. I was like, why the heck was all that science? Oh.
Yeah, but it's not
It's a
really
work in progress.
but it doesn't seem like so much of a drive as it is a transportation technology.
It's
Yeah,
still
it's not. I don't think the ship's
metaphysically-
moving.
it's a metaphysics thing that's kind of it's throwing me because again, Star Trek doesn't usually play. If they use the metaphysical, it's usually not in the best of lights.
Or they stumble over it on an alien world.
And even then, it's still kind of like they will use something in that way to get out of a situation, but it's not something they would adopt.
Right.
Let me throw
because-
this at you.
Because they would look at the negativity of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me throw this at you though, because this is a thought that occurred to me. It's like maybe they're actually on the same thought process that leads to Iconian gateways,
Possibly.
because it's saying behaves very similarly. Instantly over there, Iconian gateways do the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
Stowe.
Oh.
That hasn't been established canonically.
No, it
Canonically?
has. Yes, it has.
Yes,
They
it
just
has.
didn't walk through it. That was in DS9
Oh yeah.
It's also
And-
in TNG.
and TNG.
Even
use it in
TOS
TNG?
has gateways you can just walk through.
But this
But
isn't
yeah.
even a gateway. It's
Not yet, because they don't know.
Yeah,
of
it's like
Iconian.
you snort some spores, and next thing you know, you're home.
yeah. Click your heels together. You know, come on, man.
It's the same
It's-
principle is what I'm getting at. Maybe
Yeah.
that's, and then they'll realize, oh, the reason why this isn't working is because we haven't built the means to, control it, or what's a better word here? We need a frame, and then we need to build a gateway.
to boldly
when-
stand and snort spores where no
When
man
she
has
was
stood
in
and
that-
snorted spores before. Yes.
When she was in that room, did she actually travel someplace, or was that holographic stuff?
I'm pretty
think she
sure that
actually
was
traveled.
actually holographic. I don't think she actually went anywhere because he didn't go
Mm.
anywhere, and he was talking to her directly, and he was not. He still stayed in the room.
True.
And he did say, and then you're home as if nothing happened.
Yeah. See, I don't know. It was
Yeah.
We
weird.
saw lots of
Right.
TOS places there during that.
Yes, we
Right.
did.
There
Again,
were-
like I said, there were a lot of nods. Some of them felt like I said, they felt like given a reach around just for the sake of it. But I will say, at least the Gorn skeleton, while it was there, was the right kind of Gorn and not the one we saw in Enterprise.
right.
And the tribble. Well, the tribble was really big. Didn't you see how big that tribble was?
Those tribbles are big.
Sucker was huge.
Well, according to
So they were in Trek.
after
Remember that.
Trek, it's neutered. So maybe they swell up.
Yeah,
when they're
yeah.
neutered.
Well, that happens to cats too. You neuter them and they get all blown up.
That's true. Now, I'll say I'll do this after the show. I'm not going to say it on the air.
My cat is enormous because we neutered him.
What is
It's
it?
revenge.
Why is it when you remove testosterone from a cat's body? How come they get so big?
Well,
Revenge.
it happened to dogs
Because
too.
all they do is eat and grow.
That's true.
My mother-in-law's dog is about 5 times bigger than it should have been because they cut its balls off way too young.
There you go, folks. If you're short, afraid if your children are going to be short, make sure you take your son out and have him neutered.
I've met a few kids where that wasn't a bad idea.
There's actually cases where they have done crazy things like that. So let's not go down that road.
Well, I mean, eunuch were a thing, man.
No. I'm not talking about eunuchs. Something else.
No, and we don't want to make any castrati while we're at it. Thank you very
No.
much.
Well, they
Okay,
would do it.
I'm gonna go get that stout. I'll be right back.
Go right ahead. I missed the rest of the conversation. I'm sorry.
You didn't
I'm
miss
sorry.
much.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, told you I'd be quick.
You can be sorry.
No,
though,
I
if you
got
want.
myself a nice bit of Atlanta Gold, otherwise known as Coca-Cola.
I'm working
the
on
only
the art
cola.
piece at the same time here. So
I'm just drinking Miller High Life tonight.
Oh, here we go. So here's what Firefly was talking about with the whole don't imitate a certain redhead. It says the point being that one of her better known traits is frequent invective, so much so that one of her teammates regularly calls her on it as conduct unbecoming of a lady. So that's what he was getting at. That makes sense now.
Makes perfect sense.
The only drawback with having the chat thing is that we don't have it in real time.
And I'm back.
Because by the time that he's responding to what we're saying on the show, we're already at least, several sentences beyond that.
Now, wow, hour into this already. I have seen this across the social medias and actually on quite a few websites and stuff. And this would be one of the conversations that I'll see if we can put onto ours. Orville and Discovery came out a week from each other, a week and a half, or 2 weeks apart from each other. And a lot of people are putting them up as competition. I don't see competition.
Neither do I.
I mean, if that was going to be the case, then technically Deep Space Nine and Star Trek The Next Generation should have been competing against each other.
But they
And
weren't.
same with Deep Space Nine and Voyager. And they didn't.
But one was a spin-off of the other, so.
Yeah, well, it's still two separate shows with similar ideas.
But Deep Space Nine did compete with Babylon 5.
And Babylon 5 held its own.
Oh yeah,
In Babylon 5, what was it, 5 seasons, 6 seasons?
something like that.
Our
5 seasons, I
Babylon
believe.
expert just said BRB,
Yeah, he did.
So.
He's gone. He walked away from
I
his
believe
mic.
it was 5 seasons, and they forgot what they were actually going for. They have a plan. What's the plan? We forgot.
Yeah, because I thought he actually had it mapped out for only so many seasons.
Yeah. They didn't expect it to go that long, I guess.
I never understood why Commander Sheridan left and we ended up with Boxleitner.
He just wanted off the show?
The guy had mental health issues. That
Oh.
wasn't released until after his death, though.
That's
Really?
sad. That's sad. Okay.
Every time he kept trying to say Straczynski. Yeah, I can't even say it. He couldn't say much Straczynski. Oh, look, Mark Hamill tripped. Wonder what that means for The Last Jedi. Sorry.
It
Well,
means
at
the Last
least-
Jedi has fallen.
At least they didn't drop a door on his leg.
Well, that kind of stuff. This goes on within the geek community, and I mean, it's mainstream at this point, right? It's no longer the geek is a mainstream thing, right? It's cool to be geeky.
Depending.
I think we should all become. We should got to find something else not be like so mainstream.
The Geek EZ.
Maybe I don't know, because it has become over the past decade. the stigma of seeing these sort of things has gone away.
It depends on the fandom in question, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people that like watch their sports ball, and I'm not into it, and they think I'm weird. So,
Yeah,
there
me
you
neither.
go.
That's when you tell them you're a geek.
Some people go, you need to boycott the NFL. It's like, I already do. I don't watch a single NFL game except for the Super Bowl. I have been boycotting them my entire life. I'm not going to start now or start
There
just
you
to
go.
stop again.
There
It doesn't
you
matter.
go.
I will watch a baseball game occasionally. I enjoy the game, but I prefer to watch them live.
Well, it was much to my father's chagrin because he was a great big jock. I mean, this guy was a Babe Ruth Award winner, you know. So it was tough on him to have a son that just wasn't into it.
But I've always liked baseball. I mean, was I athletic as a kid? Not as much as I'd like to be, but I mean, I really enjoyed baseball. I
As
love
you like
the
to be.
idea.
I love that line. I wasn't as athletic as I like to be. As in,
As
I'm
I'd
still
like
a kid.
as I would have liked to be. I mean, because believe me, it would have been
I know,
nice.
so you're still a kid.
Yeah, as I'd liked to have been that way. But
Nope,
I
I'm
don't
still
know.
saying you're a child.
Yes, I am a child. I am a man child. I will not deny that. I
And
just
we're selling
bought
Wolfie's
toys.
car.
Come on! I just picked up that Darth Vader figure for $10, and I was all excited.
For $10, that's a good deal.
It was a $40 box set, blah blah blah, big deal, and that was marked down to $10. And it is an impressive action figure.
The only reason I don't collect that kind of stuff is I have nowhere to put these things.
Neither do I
I'm
right now.
currently on eBay looking at G.I. Joe accessory packs.
That's the cool thing about being an adult is you can go out and get the stuff you couldn't get as a kid.
Right?
Because
Right.
I picked up 6 G.I. Joes this weekend, but none of them have
And
been
you know what?
accessories.
It really is no different. It is no different when you think about it in the general. It's just what you go into. There are people who scour eBay for old baseballs. There are people who scour eBay for all old sports jerseys and that kind of memorabilia. And
Hell,
those things.
I'm sure there are guys that are out there scouring eBay for old underpants.
I'm sure. So I mean, it just depends on what you're into. And I don't understand why lines are drawn the way they are. I guess because of the like I said, the geek world and the nerdy things, like in comic books and science fiction, always it was a stigma because you weren't the popular guy out there on the football field. You were the guy sitting there reading comic books. So I mean, it was like a popularity contest.
My son is here to remind me that there are guys in Japan that do the underpants thing.
They actually have whatchamacallit. They
Not
have
anymore.
vending machines.
Nope, not anymore.
Oh, not anymore. But they did. Because there's something
That was the
slightly
thing.
off about the Japanese.
Japan.
Because Japan. Yep.
Because Japan.
Their age of consent over there is 14. It's like the Alabama of Asia.
Dear,
I shouldn't have said that.
dear God, Jim, what happened to your voice?
I raised him right. What can I tell you?
The Alabama. Of
You cracked
Asia.
him up, son. Well done.
What is that traditional Asian guitar? What is that? What is the thing called?
Vocal harmonizer?
No,
I know what you're talking about.
the
They've got a couple different.
three-string lute thingy.
Good night, son. Go to bed.
How do you play
Kabuto?
on that thing?
Kabuki?
Ah,
Oh, God.
Now I'm just
Hey, Blade Runner
imagining
came
I'm just imagining, some guy from Japan trying to speak with a southern drawl.
There
Oh,
is-
you-
Oh,
there's
you've
that
never
comedian.
seen that subculture of Japan?
Have you not seen the comedian?
There's literally like a white trash Japanese subculture.
Oh, my God. No, really?
I'll have to see if I can find it.
A Japanese white trash subculture.
Isn't that kind of a misnomer, though? If we're gonna go by skin colors and if we're gonna label things by color, wouldn't it be yellow trash?
No.
Stop that.
What?
Actually, no.
That's racist.
Actually, no, because culture-wise, the Japanese kind of, sort of... White skin is a thing you want in Japan. You want to be a very pale Asian.
Okay, but if we're gonna throw like color labels out,
I
which
do
I don't,
admire that in their women, that's for sure.
trying to explain that to my daughter why black people are called black and white people are called white and she actually said this. She goes, but they're brown and we're pink. How do you
wrong.
explain that to a 5-year-old who is logically thinking? Because she's got some friends.
That always bothered me when I was a kid. So I'm
Yeah,
right
she's
there
got
with
friends
her.
in school, and I said, "Who were you playing with today?" She said the girl's name, and I was like, "Oh," and she goes, "Yeah, she's the brown girl." And I was like, "Brown girl, baby, you mean
Brown.
black?" She goes, "But she's not black; she's brown." So I had to go in through the whole thing. I mean, that's the problem. We've got these labels of color, like red skin and yellow skin, white skin, black skin.
There it is. Click that link.
That's why I love Shran so much when he referred to humans as pink skins.
Yeah,
I thought that was wonderful.
Meet the Yankee, the Japanese subculture that embraces American trashiness.
Oh dear God! So like
What
the
junior high
Kardashians
school
and-
you went to means everything.
So they watch a lot of Jerry Springer.
No,
and
hold on, hold on.
Kardashians.
I'm literally looking at the picture here, and I'm thinking, those aren't rednecks at all. In any way, shape, or form.
I said white trash.
I don't even think they fit that. I think they're getting it wrong.
They look like a bunch of punk kids on motorcycles. Big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Well-
Guys, you got to up your game. You're not there yet.
They're Japanese teenagers, so they're doing everything, but they're doing it fashionably.
Oh, look at the hair.
There's
Oh,
there's
God.
another article that's got some different pictures that show it better in terms of it being white trashy.
Oh, cracked.
Now I gotta admit, girls look like a lot of Cougine girls from Bedford Stuyvesant. So
Wait, there's girls there? I don't see any.
oh, you got to scroll down.
Oh, that's why. I was looking at the first picture and going, no, you're not there yet.
Yeah, those girls look pretty tough, man. I wouldn't want to tangle with them. And more motorcycles.
Oh my God! It's a Japanese guy with a mullet.
Oh, and the blonde hair with the brown tips. Yeah. Well, you see a lot of that in Vermont.
Oh,
Yeah. So
I thought
I
you
did
guys
that
were just
for a
born
while.
that way.
Still,
they look pretty
Japan,
tough.
you've got a plethora of references to pull from. You need to up your game. You're not there yet.
Well, Japan seems to suffer from some kind of weird identity crisis anyway. They're looking for anything to glom onto to identify with for some reason.
Okay, now looking on the ones from Cracked, I was like, yeah, okay, you're on target there.
I don't know.
Some of them.
I wouldn't say that they're trying to find something to glom onto. I think it's just a youngster thing trying to find a trend to kick into because Japanese traditions is still.
Well,
there.
that's what I'm saying. I
think all young people do that.
All
No,
right,
I
I phrased it poorly. I'm sorry.
I think it stems from how uptight Japanese society is in terms of day-to-day interactions and everything.
Sure.
Just like Germans, it doesn't matter if you've worked with someone for 20 years, you still speak to them in German in the formal using the formal forms.
And it still sounds like you're yelling at them for no reason.
No, my German instructor used to tell me that he worked with German lawyers. People had known each other 20, 30 years, and they preferred to talk in English, speak in English, because English doesn't have that same sense of formal and informal in the language as much. And it's not this strict rule. They could actually talk and joke and have a conversation that wasn't, yes, sir, hello, sir, goodbye, sir. And Japan has a lot of that as well. It's very strict socially.
I
in a
kind of
lot
wish
Better
it
organized.
did. There are times where it's like formality would be nice. It'd be, I mean, I don't know, it'd be easier to teach your kids formal versus informal, I think.
Well, that's and again, here I go bringing up my son who was just here a minute ago, but he's very formal like that. It's yes sir, no sir. Having raised him in the South when he was younger, down there the kids are yes sir, yes ma'am, no sir, no ma'am. They use sir and ma'am. They use their manners. They're very strict down there about how you address. For the
Man, you haven't spent much time in North Carolina.
I was gonna say,
I'm talking in the North Central Florida area. It's still very.
No. You don't count Florida as the South.
no, man,
Well,
that's just South Brooklyn. What are
That's
you
just
talking about?
Florida.
No, I'm
period.
talking North Central Florida, where they're still pretty Southified, but
True.
they're still. Well, the kids that are clean cut and well mannered are very gentrified. And I like that, so I try to ingrain that in my kids because it was so nice to
It's
have.
just hearing
Just
there's an
being
informality.
being polite, being
Yeah,
polite, being courteous and respectful.
Trying to teach that to children without having a sense of formal versus informal, because English is a very informal language. It doesn't have the structure that, say, German does, Russian does, and I mean, there are things I'm glad we don't have, like where everything's masculine and feminine. That would drive me insane. Where if you literally say, if you change the masculine or feminine inflection or word beforehand, you change the meaning of the word. That would drive me nuts.
Oh, there's no way I could deal with it. It's crazy.
The like you said, the formality, the way they talk formally to each other, even if you've known them for as long as you do. I mean, you listen to kids nowadays talk to adults and talk to each other. I mean, there are no sirs and no ma'ams and stuff. It's all
they're
go
rude as hell. Yeah,
they talk to their teachers. They talk to their teachers the same way they talk to their buddies. And I've laid that rule in my house. It's like, we are not your buddies in school. You will not talk to me like I'm on your same level, dude. Not gonna happen.
Nope.
But I don't know. There's that kind of stuff. But either way, German still sounds, whether it's casual German or not, or formal German, it still sounds like you're yelling at each other. It really does. I mean, I'm no offense to. I mean, I'm quite a bit German myself, and the language is really guttural.
It's very guttural.
So is Japanese, for that fact.
Well, Japanese is not very guttural, but definitely very formal, and they've got multiple layers.
Well, I'm more Irish, don't you know? So I
still love Italian.
Relax a little bit.
Listening to Italian spoken is like listening to a song.
Oh, it's no, it's not like that at all.
Did we just turn into Family Guy here?
Ladies, we gotta put a preface out here right now, because we are totally offending at least 99% of anybody born after 1985. But we are not politically correct on this show.
No, we're not. But the thing is, nothing but love. There's nothing but love in what we say.
Seriously. I mean, we're not xenophobic. We're not none of that. It's
no.
These are observations.
Everyone. These are observations, and we love everybody. I love everybody that I meet. I really do. So, I love
everybody. Actually, that's the other way.
No, listen. Either it's all funny or none of it is, and you've got to be able to relax and just roll with it.
There are certain things you can't laugh at.
Well, like recent events. No, you can't.
And there are certain things you can't laugh at, like Don's face.
Well, let's say things you can't laugh at that I will literally jump all over people for, where you actually do make racist statements out of a stereotypical or some kind of way that way. I'll jump all over you for that kind of stuff, where you talk ill about people with disabilities.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It's like I'm talking about a language or a country or the way people talk in general, not because if they have a speech impediment, but just in general, of the language. I mean, I'm sure people talk about English the way we talk, that it's just wrong. So,
well, they say English is the hardest language to learn. I would disagree, but then
I'm pretty sure that Japanese and Chinese
are worse. But I'm a little biased. So
rough and dough, Jim. The words rough and dough, to anyone who doesn't know this language, would look at those, and if you know rough is pronounced rough, then you would instantly say, well, then dough must be pronounced duff.
Right.
Okay. Okay, here's one for you. You can literally get furniture cleaner from Poland, and when you look at the bottle, it will say Polish polish, but they are spelt exactly the same.
Right.
Polish.
So there's also the fact that English is one of the few languages where word order is essential.
Oh, yeah, yes. You mess up your word order and you have completely... Well, you can prick your finger, but...
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also park in driveways and drive in ways.
Yeah.
What's wrong? I mean, seriously.
You can prick your finger, but you cannot reverse that.
Yes. You can snatch kisses, and it's the exact same thing.
Right.
Yes.
You can finger your... Wait, no, can't say that.
Oh, no, you can't. No.
But, I mean, it's... Yeah.
Speaking of snatching kisses, when I went to Ozfest with my father, he wore a shirt that said that, and then in reverse.
Mm-hmm. Why do they speak English in Trek?
And what?
Well,
why it is... I mean, even if it's with an accent like Captain Georgiou or Pavel Chekhov, English is the spoken language in the Federation.
No,
Well-
that's called Federation Standard.
Actually, it would be more a case of, for a lot of them, at least certainly by TNG, that they're actually speaking their own language, but everybody's got a universal translator going on because their comm badges act as translator.
True.
As for now, with Discovery, maybe it's just because because it's the same thing today. English is a common enough language.
It's the most widely spoken language on the planet.
Yeah, that everybody can pretty much, get into. Same with U.S. dollars. It's so common because it's, relatively easy to
I
use.
just found it really odd that, I mean, I laugh when Star Wars, they have basic. What is basic? It's English.
Pretty much, yeah.
Even though the
Galactic.
alphabet's different. Yeah. Galactic
Actually,
basic.
There are 2 alphabets, and one is the Latin alphabet.
Which is why you have X-Wing and Y-Wing fighters.
Yes.
Right.
Because in Urabesh, they are not X and Y.
No, the A wing would be the Auric wing, which there is an Auric wing or an Auric fighter.
Yes.
Or there was. Then Disney happened.
Come on, man. At least they're keeping Star Wars alive.
Tucker Keenan.
Wait. The Arc fighter is in the prequels.
No, that's Ark. Aruk.
Oh, Aruk.
Yeah,
Well, you never know what's going to happen with the other stuff.
We know enough. They killed
But, you know, there are still so many people so upset that Thrawn is in Rebels and they changed Thrawn, that there's a new Thrawn book, that the Thrawn trilogy doesn't exist anymore. I'm like, well, technically we don't know. Well, we do now know because they're actually doing books like that happen right after Jedi. So it is going to completely nullify all of the EU.
Yeah, I know, but why can't we just rejoice in the fact that Thrawn is involved? You know, we'll relax and enjoy the entertainment for what it is.
We could have not gotten Thrawn at all.
True. Same thing with Discovery. I mean, I am not crapping on it saying we don't need it. I'm just saying some of it's kind of making my eyebrows go up. And some of it's just making me go, eh. But...
And some of it is bad writing.
The fact that fandom has turned into such a split... And I'm just curious. I hate doing this. Because I'm the one who declared the Geek EZ and Axanar free zone. But had Axanar not happened, I do not think that Discovery would be getting the crap that it's getting from some of the fandom.
I would
today.
agree. I would agree with that. You've got the Axelites that so think that the Shenzhou was based on the Ares,
but it's not.
No, it's not.
Well, the Ares is based on the original sketch.
The Ares is based on a whole other ship entirely
that John Eves designed beforehand. So I mean, John Eves just stole his own design.
Right.
But it's not even that. It's the aspect of a prequel. It's the aspect of the timeline, the whole deal of it. And the fact that Axanar did split the fandom, whether there
are members of the Axanar fandom that are saying, "Oh, Lorca is going to turn out to be Garth."
Yeah, well, there's that. No,
would you stop already?
There were already wedges within fandom. There were really big rifts into. I mean, you had Kirk versus Picard.
Yeah, but that's a whole different animal.
Yeah, but it was still.
But Peters has caused so much trouble. That he has no idea when he dropped that pebble in the pond, the ripples that came out from it. He'll never cop to the fact that he has had such a negative effect on everything.
Now, I will say, if CBS knew that they were, you don't just, I mean, they had to have been in the works before the lawsuit stuff. The idea, the negative PR that comes from a lawsuit.
Officially, due to the bad robot contract, they could not have been working on it.
Okay. But still, the idea, the PR nightmare that ensues, the fact that it became as public as it did, because Lucasfilm had sued people before. Lucasfilm did a lot of cease and desist. Fox has done it. It's not unprecedented. It's usually not
No.
thrown into the limelight the same way.
No, and when you're
Be-
backed into a corner like that and forced to show your hand or forced to, I mean, you can only kick a dog so many times. They're gonna bite, you know.
Yeah, and of course, because it was when Lucasfilm did whatever they did. Again, if you go back and look, I'm pretty sure there were a couple of times where people got. I mean, come on, they sued Battlestar Galactica back in the '70s, and then, or they sued Universal, and then Universal turned around and sued them right back. But that was the biggest one. There have been other cease and desist. There's been other things that Lucasfilm has done to cover their butts and to make sure that their property was not stolen or taken and used in a way that they did not want.
Well, and we can thank social media too for a lot of this trouble.
And with the prelude to Axanar getting as many views as it did, and a lot of people, all the geek websites picked up on it, and they're all, look how great this looks, how awesome this is, how great, and it just had this huge, like, oh look, it's real Trek, it's not. I mean, because people were saying that I mean, there were a lot of people who still were anti-Enterprise, who were like, this is what we really needed, and all that kind of stuff, and then the lawsuit happened.
And the thing is, when I first saw Prelude, I thought it was amazing.
I will still to this day say Prelude for a fan film is incredible.
Adam, there's a group chat you need to look at.
And I wish to God that they had continued with the documentary style work, because that would have been amazingly cool.
It just I mean, I will never negate the fact that even though how I feel personally about the copyright lawsuit and all the stuff that went down, it will not negate the fact that the work that was put into Prelude from the very talented people who put it together, actors behind the camera, in front of it, it was just a well done piece of film. And I will never say that never happened.
And we can thank Christian Gossett for his work, because he did an amazing thing.
He did. And along those same lines, it's you got Horizons out there, another fantastic piece of fan fiction on video. That's on YouTube as well.
It was very good. It was very good.
But
and the idea that the whole thing was shot in a garage in front of a green screen, holy crap.
Yeah, I really do think that had the lawsuit, and I'm not saying Axanar itself, had the lawsuit not happened, that the fandom would not be as split and wouldn't be as vocal about it right now. Well, they'd probably still be vocal, those who didn't like it, but I don't think that the amount of people that are crapping all over it would be the same.
I would agree. But you can't blame the lawsuit on CBS. CBS.
No, I'm not blaming the lawsuit on that.
No, CBS got pushed.
It's just a PR nightmare. It really is.
I mean, what do you expect to happen when you go out and you hit the hornet's nest with a baseball bat? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, come on.
You get wasps.
Or you get hornets.
You get stung, is what happens.
Yeah.
And
Either way.
Firefly's asking a question on Christian Gossett. Isn't the same guy who brought us the Red Star comic?
I think
we mentioned him.
Hold on.
Was he part of the Axanar thing? Or the Prelude?
He directed it.
Oh, okay. I've never seen it.
And he doesn't deserve near the chim music that he gets from the Axolites. But the thing is, again, Peters pushed him and crapped all over him. And he gave him the great big middle finger and said, well, I'm out. I don't need this noise. I just did you a huge favor and you're going to crap all over me? Bye-bye.
I do believe it is the same person.
But that's what Alec does, and he does it time and again. He continues to shoot himself in the foot and call it surgery. And it's what he's always done.
Yes, Christian Gossett is the same person.
And I speak from where I know, because I know the guy and I've worked with him and I've seen how he behaves, and he's an absolute, well, I'm not going to
same person as what?
Christian Gossett did the comic book Red Star.
Yeah. He also did
that.
some design stuff for Star Wars.
The guy's got talent.
And he's a hell of a nice guy.
He is. Either way, no matter who worked on it, what it does, I really think that it's social media is one of the big downfalls. I'm pretty sure had social media been as big as it is now back in 2001. Because what we had back then were we had the BBSs and a couple of chat or things. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Twitter. Enterprise probably would have gotten
AOL Instant Messenger.
Yeah, I don't think it would have been. I mean, I think the backlash towards Enterprise would have been just as bad, if not worse.
I'm just upset that they decided to cancel it just when it was really getting off to a roaring roll. You know, it was starting to get into territory where we were starting to see world building, and we were
Should
starting
have
to
given us
see
that last season at least.
Well, yeah, that last season would have been nice, where we see the Federation.
Yep.
You know,
We wouldn't have had that god awful season finale or series finale.
Oh, just the worst. And everyone feels bad about it now, apparently. Everybody that was involved feels bad about it.
No, it was shoehorned is really what it was. And
yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was terrible.
Sorry, I got distracted. Apparently, so did everybody else.
Oh,
no,
my God.
I guess I was just recoiling in horror, thinking about what could have been, you know.
I was actually looking up blankets. Go figure.
Blankets?
Yeah, I'm
blankets.
looking for images.
Oh, okay.
Use like
okay.
I mean, I'm going to suffocate Wolfie. I mean, yes, images. That's what I'm looking for.
Dude, you're going to sell his car and suffocate him?
Well, we don't want him to fight off me trying to sell his car.
So, Adam, earlier you said you were busy.
Yes.
What are you busy with?
I was hoping to have it live for this show, but it's not going to be. Sometime over the next 3 or 4 days, I'm hoping to have the geekez.com up and running, where we will be. I would like to start a whole community on there where the conversations don't stop, because that's what we're all about. Just
Can't stop.
Don't stop me now.
Exactly.
Because I'm having a good time. Oh, sorry.
Exactly.
It'll be up. It'll be running.
Sorry, not sorry.
And as it's like the growing pains are just insane with the Geek EZ.
How do I get to the colony?
In Star Trek Online?
Or the Geek EZ colony.
Yep. It's in the
pants are optional.
It's in the alpha. It's in the alpha quadrant.
But no, geekez.com will be live. I'm hoping before next week's show.
I do like the optional pants protocol.
Yes, pants are optional in the Geek EZ colony. Shirts are a must, but pants are optional.
Yeah, we don't want to see those man boobs, man. We don't want to see those man boobs.
You can have a scant. Scant is good. The scant.
Boy, there was a mistake and a half.
And now it's in stow.
I never understood. I mean, I understand the whole unisex thing and that it's not an unheard of thing for men wearing a skirt or a kilt of some sort, but it just doesn't seem. I mean, I never thought skirts on as a uniform worked either.
It
not
didn't
for a duty
seem.
uniform.
It never seemed very utilitarian.
No,
it?
not for a duty uniform.
No.
For a formal uniform, I could see it, but for a duty uniform, being bare-legged, it just doesn't seem right. Man or woman. I always found it funny that the on the original Enterprise they wore mini skirts that barely stayed down as it is. They always had them.
Those are the elite ships, apparently. So
yeah, we would definitely see Uhura's undies on more than one occasion.
Those weren't undies; those were playground pals.
Well, I know, but you know what I mean.
That's still the greatest name for a shorts that go into a skirt I has ever seen. Playground pals.
Wait, what?
My daughter wears I have a 5-year-old daughter who enjoys wearing skirts. But when you go to school, you don't want everybody seeing your underwear, so she wears what's called a playground pal. It is basically a small pair of shorts that go on underneath a skirt. They're called playground pals.
How about that?
Anybody with young daughters would know what I'm talking about. So, but that's neither here nor there. I just never thought it made sense.
It's apparently a thing.
It's a thing. Who's going to see the Blade Runner?
Ooh,
I'm going. I'm
I
definitely
still
going.
see Kingsman.
I'm still on the fence.
Get off the fence.
I probably will.
They got Blade Runners in the bargain bin over at Walmart right now, so I might have to
Oh.
run over and grab a $7 copy of Blade Runner, and then watch that, and then go see it.
There's a director's cut version in there.
Yeah, there's
There's
the director's,
so many
the
different
ultimate.
There's
cuts.
several.
The director's cut is the one to see, from what I hear.
Yes, I think the one that's on sale, or the one they have in the bargain bin, is the ultimate cut, which I think they put the voiceovers back in. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh no!
Oh, I
no.
hope not. The voiceover is terrible.
Yeah,
I remember when CBS aired The Thing, and the opening scenes had a voiceover. Does anyone remember this?
what, the remake?
No. The original The Thing, and there were voiceovers giving us the background on each of the characters.
Well, don't forget the original The Thing is the remake.
Well, yeah, the John Carpenter one is a remake.
Well, the John Carpenter version.
Okay, the John Carpenter, not the sequel, prequel, exact same thing as he did, whatever that was a few years back, but the one with Kurt Russell.
Right.
Okay.
And when they
Kurt
aired
Russell,
it,
the man whose jaw could cut diamonds.
Yeah, when they aired it on CBS, the opening scenes is they revealed each character that someone narrated a little voiceover to explain each character.
I don't remember that.
It was weird as hell.
Well, that's like if you-
so and so is a biologist and he
There's-
enjoys his job.
there's
You know,
one
it's
of
like,
the-
what?
One of the Man with No Name Clint Eastwood movies has a scene that was literally shot for network television where he's sent on a mission by like a prison commandant or something to try and explain the violence in the movie.
Ah,
You never see Clint Eastwood's not in the scene. They found some guy who looked like him from behind.
Yeah, it aired once, and that was it. And I thought it was really strange that they would add these voiceovers at the beginning to explain the characters, like we couldn't figure it out on our own.
so speaking of weird things in films, how would you feel if it is a true, and it's not just a rumor or some kind of Hollywood tale, that there was a 6-hour cut of The Phantom Menace
What?
that delves more into the political intrigue and the machinations, whatever, of
The machinations, everything's
whatever.
a mech.
whatever that word is, the way that
Machinations.
Palpatine actually started manipulating things throughout the entire thing. It delves into more of the more of it.
Whoa, for real?
Supposedly that there is a 6-hour cut of that film.
Yikes.
I also heard the same thing, that there's a 4.5 or 5-hour cut of the original film.
It wouldn't surprise me. They usually do have, for those big blockbuster films, they usually
Yeah.
have an awful lot of hours, and then they pare it down to fit for
They
theaters.
whittle.
Well, yeah, I know.
Because I
mean,
figure, okay, this actually doesn't help, so on and so forth.
Well, we have seen a lot of outtake footage. I mean, there's a whole scene that happens at Tashi Station
True.
between Luke and Biggs, which I still wish when they'd done the remaster they had put that back in, but they didn't.
I mean, yeah, there's that. The I don't know. I mean, if there was I would sit and watch it. I mean, I'm looking forward to The Last Jedi because it's going to be the longest Star Wars film ever made, or ever put into theaters. It's an hour or 150 minutes long.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to top the Attack of the Clones, because Attack of the Clones was the longest, and it felt it.
Apparently Firefly is all in favor, though, of like a 6-hour long film, because he points out, as Game of Thrones, House of Cards, etc. showed us, such a thing could be devoured by audience if they put the work into presentation.
And I have to admit, out of the 3 prequels, Attack of the Clones, I found the best one. So
Really?
I enjoyed it.
The last 25 minutes was fine. There was so much of that film that was not necessary.
I hate sand.
Well, yeah, that whole scene, that whole triad romance could have been cut completely out.
Oh yeah, that was all of that was unnecessary, really. But overall, I enjoyed it.
I still like Revenge of the Sith. It's the shortest of the 3. Its story moves at a much better pace than the other 2. Now, I know. I mean, I am one of the. I am a Star. I said this before, and Wolfie, you said I should die or something to that effect because I said I think I'm more Star Wars than Star Trek.
I didn't say that.
You said shun something or other. You said no. You said there was.
I said
violence
something like shun the non-believer.
No,
something.
there was violence. You said something violent. I gotta go back.
I'm not going to be violent over that.
Okay. Either way, I am. I have always.
I think I said blasphemy.
Something to that effect. You said there is only Trek, and I mean it's hard for me to say that. I mean because I do enjoy Star Trek, but
no, I'm pretty sure I said Trek is life.
Trek is life, but for me, I mean, nothing of that is life for me. It's the way I escape life. But Star Wars was mine. I was a 5-year-old boy, and it was mine. It was like had I been a 5-year-old boy in 1966, Star Trek probably would have felt the same way. But Star Wars was mine. I grew up with it. I mean, Star Trek was just in reruns. We didn't get a new one until I was in my teens. So it was like, okay, yeah, it's all good. I like Star Trek. We had the movies and stuff, but even then, Star Wars still took precedence. So I can go back and watch the prequels. I mean, did I like them when they first came out? No, I will say I walked out of episode 1 back in 1999, and I looked at my friend I was with, and I was like, I don't think I like that. And I remember I was like, I mean, I went and saw it 5 or 6 more times, but it was still, I can now, looking back at it, I can watch all 6 of the films, all 7 of the films in a row, and I can watch them all the way through. I won't have to fast forward anything because there's still Star Wars. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's all good. It's like I can't. I mean, I can do the same thing.
What about the Ewok Adventures?
I can watch those too. They have a nostalgia factor for me. That was like
they're awful.
I can't. I've tried. I can't.
I know. I tried to, and I can't get through them.
The second one's better than the first one. The one with Wilford Brimley? It's better than the first one. He never once says diabetes, which is all good. It was just a better. I mean, it just had. I think because already at that point I was already into the. I had all the books on the makings of him and all the artwork and stuff, and I was already gearing myself to go into that field and really try to get into making the things, not being the guy who in front of the camera. But I want to be the guy making the monsters and the spaceships and stuff. And in those 2 films, they used a lot of the original ideas for Empire and Jedi and Star Wars and the creatures and some of the things they threw in there and the spaceships and just it was all there. And I was like, hey, that's cool. They use this and that's cool. They use that. So maybe it was different for me on that end too. It's kind of like Rebels. Rebels uses stuff from all of McQuarrie's old drawings and stuff that I'm like, oh, I know what that is. Oh, I know what that is.
Well, then shouldn't you be like that over Discovery?
No, because I didn't like that design.
But it's McCrory's old drawing.
I didn't say everything McQuarrie did was gold, man.
Because it really isn't.
There's a reason that was not accepted because it was just a Star Destroyer with a saucer on the top. They probably said to him, say, you know what? We want to capture what made Star Wars great. So he was like, okay, here's a Star Destroyer with the cells on it.
And they just probably looked at it, really?
But it was
controlling us, aren't you?
Again, there are things McQuarrie did. I mean, it's like, okay. There's some stuff even for the Star Wars. I was like, what was he thinking with that? But either way, it's I come on. I watch the holiday special every year. I love the silence in the room. It's awesome.
Oh, really?
Happy Life Day.
We've watched it. We have watched it on the
Dude,
show.
I used to air it before I started getting takedown notices for it. For the first 2 years of the Geek EZ, every Thanksgiving, I would air it. I would put it up on our stream because we wouldn't have a show.
Yeah, we're getting takedown notices. It wasn't coming from Lucasfilms. People posing as Lucasfilm to stop you from playing it. For the love of God, stop playing it.
Yeah, I couldn't do that now because we broadcast on YouTube and they'd probably shut us down within the first 2 minutes of it.
Yeah, probably.
And I wouldn't do it now anyway because that is copyright infringement, straightforward, even though you're not profiting from it. But yeah, I wouldn't do it now, but I do. It's. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I watch it. I watch the Ewok movies. I watched the Droids cartoon from back in the 80s. That's hard to watch. That is really difficult to watch.
Yeah, that's kind of a mess.
It's like going back and trying to watch Masters of the Universe from back then.
Yeah, that's also hard to watch.
That's a hard. Thundercats is a hard one to watch. It's just there are certain things that it's just like, why did I like this so much?
Voltron's
Hey! I can still watch the old Voltrons.
I tried. I can't. Same for Transformers, which
I
is
can't
real
watch Speed
disappointing.
Racer.
Firefly. To this day, I still would love to see a Star Wars game like Republic Commando, but taking cues from the older Rainbow Six titles.
That'd be cool.
At the toy show I was at this weekend, I was looking for a Voltron, and the only thing they had was the freaking vehicle one.
You're not even the good one.
A lot of
What,
people
like the
still
old-
want an Imperial Commando game.
Ugh.
What, like the old
That'd been fun.
1980s diecast ones?
No, I think this was a re-release.
Oh,
one.
okay. Because the only one I remember when those came out, and they didn't even say Voltron on them. It just said Lion Robot because they were bootlegs for the longest time because there was no official Voltron toys yet. And they were coming out of Japan in like a white box that just said Lion Robot on it. And you could buy either them individually or you could get them as a box set with all 5 lions. I only got the blue one.
And I bet you they'd be, as a set, would be worth a lot.
Oh, I'm sure. To this day, you get the original ones before they actually had the Voltron name slapped on them. If they were still in the box, whoa. Yes, I say woof a lot. I'd say woof.
So if I told you I had it in my storage area.
You have the original one?
No, of course not.
Oh.
But if I did, I'd be rich.
Tease.
Now,
Well, yes, I am.
Tank, you said you can't go back and watch the old Transformers cartoons. Can you watch the film?
The film holds up a little bit better, I think,
Okay.
than the cartoon. There's an awful lot of animation mistakes and whatnot with the cartoon, which
Yeah,
is
that's
to be
par for the course.
expected.
Yeah. It was done on the cheap.
Mental Gen.
Oh, hey.
Suddenly,
Owen.
Owens.
Hello,
The door
everybody.
opened and a Fig Newton entered.
Yeah, sorry. Today's just been especially
we
since
are on
4.
the air.
All right,
Oh,
it's the big
all right.
fig.
Feel
the
free to
big
hang out
fig.
with us.
You can
though.
hang. It's cool.
Absolutely.
We're almost
Yeah,
done
well,
anyway.
just
I just
today's
didn't
been
want you.
super
I
stressful.
just didn't want you venting anything you didn't want people knowing.
Yeah,
Fair
this
enough,
is
and I
out
appreciate that.
However,
vent,
I
not
was
yet.
going to let you sink yourself.
Just like the Titanic.
Yeah, you missed all the sparks flying.
Titanic.
More like the Empress of Ireland.
I see what you did there.
No, what he missed was all the rabble.
Lots of rabble.
Robble
That's the name of
rouser?
the episode. I haven't named the episodes in a while. We're gonna name this one Rabble.
After the show, we'll explain all the rabble.
I thought we couldn't name
Rada,
them
rada, rada.
because of the nature of the stream.
Yeah.
No, we can name them.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just
So,
automatic.
okay, fine. So, have we done episode 3 of Discovery yet?
Yes.
Yes, that's what all the
Okay.
rubble was about.
Interesting.
I called them old fogies. Who
Oh
can't accept
man,
new ideas.
you're late to the party.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
So is my world. Late to parties and not told anything until it's already happened. Gotcha.
I hear it's got Star Trek as its name. Aye, and if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a wagon.
And that's about it. Yep.
About it. We got called old men.
There's a slight burn on that one.
STO kilts.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention the kilts.
Haven't
did we?
talked that yet. Scants and kilts.
They're not kilts. They're not pleated.
They're not,
Hey,
they're
thank
not
you.
pleated, and there's... Okay, for the kilts, it's really annoying, but it's also really annoying for the scants. The color options suck, and the color options don't match the uniform top. Like the TNG scant uniform top has a completely different color palette available to it than the TNG scant bottom. So you cannot match colors.
Who planned that out? That's stupid. Did I kill the room?
No.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Well, as someone who actually wears kilts on a semi-regular basis, yes, it's not pleated, it's not folded properly, and actually, I'm kind of disappointed in the extraordinarily limited color selection. The closest I could do for a good kilt was actually the Stuart Royal tartan, and even that's not quite right. But their head's in the right place. They do need to lower the sporin by about a foot. But I'm happy.
A foot. Good God.
And extend the kilt a little further, right?
Yes, the kilt should hang just at the top of the knees. Now, the reason why I say a foot is I'm wearing the Odyssey long coat on my character, and the bottom of the sporin is barely passing the bottom of the coat. When a sporin is worn, yes, the straps are above the hips, but the sporin itself sits just about mid-level on the kilt below the belt, so right above the groin, which has always been a big joke in the Celtic community for various reasons, including the Bollock dagger. But that's a whole nother topic.
To defend your goods.
The Scots always defend their goods. I mean, literally, they've resisted, even in their national anthem, they've resisted Denmark, the Norse, England, Rome, and the world.
Who did?
Scotland.
Got as far as the Caucasus Mountains, and they were stopped cold.
Rome had to build Hadrian's Wall to keep out the Scottish ancestors, the Picts, who one soldier wrote were a wonderfully beautiful culture with wonderful songs, stories, and incredibly brave brave tattooed men. But once you anger them, you unleash a fury unlike the gods have ever seen.
Right.
Unless it's the Turks.
Well, again, as I said in the other chat, that would be an interesting combat indeed.
Oh, good Lord, yes.
Just to give you the quick anecdote on that. My brother being he was prior service, he was a ranger in special forces, and so he's talked to a lot of guys, and he's like, yeah, so when I was over in Europe for a little while, I hung out with some Irish fellas, and boy, you don't get into a drinking contest with them. But there's only one other group that you don't get into a drinking contest with, and it's the Turks, because they don't screw around. Because the Irish, they get a little rowdy when they, during drinking contests, and
yes,
they might start throwing some punches and whatnot. The Turks see this and they start drawing daggers. And then there's like, the Irish had to go like, whoa, wait, guys, we're just playing, we're just messing. Bring it down a notch.
Develop a sense of humor.
Now, isn't a kilt only pleated on the sides?
A kilt is actually pleated on the sides and in the back. The front is actually 2 layers folded flat on top of one another.
Now, in Challenger, our Scottish engineer will be wearing a duty kilt when the captain comes aboard and is given her orders, and he wears it to honor the captain.
Now,
that's fine.
Utility kilt.
I find it. I mean, now the kilt did originate in Scotland, but it did migrate because I know that my ancestors wore them. In the Caucasus Mountains, the Russian Cossacks wore kilts as well.
The Irish have also adopted them. The Welsh, the Isle of Man has their own kilt, and then there's actually a Scottish registry of kilts. So they have all the different tartan patterns registered for each family, each era. Some families have more than one, like the Wallace, the Stuarts, Stewart's.
Oh, well, she should have been wearing a kilt on Futurama.
Maybe.
Welsh.
I mean, not all Welsh. There are Welsh families that do have tartans. The Isle of Man also has tartans. So
Now this
it's really a beautiful. I mean, it's a wonderful piece of clothing, and in fact, weird history tidbit: a regular around the waist kilt is properly made out of 8 yards of fabric. Now, rumor and scuttlebutt has it that the phrase "the whole 9 yards" comes from the kilts, because either you want a regular 8-yard or what they call a war kilt, or if you want the over-the-shoulder great kilt, the over-the-shoulder material is an extra yard unto itself. So, do you want a kilt or do you want the whole 9 yards?
I like that.
So a kilt is an over-the-shoulder nut hut?
The kilt is actually historically, obviously they weren't invented till the 1800s.
Oh, you missed the joke there.
No,
Well,
I got it. I got the joke. I
He
just
got
chose
it.
to
He got
ignore
it. But the thing is that the whole 9 yards is a hell of a thing to put on too. There's a whole thing you've got to go through to get into it.
Oh yeah, it takes a good 10 minutes to get into a 9-yard kilt.
Oh, it's involved.
Dear Lord. That's
But it
why
looks so amazing.
I think the Russian variant is much easier to wear.
You have to
It's
actually
also a
put
little
it on
longer.
you have to put it on the floor, lay down on it, and begin to get into it.
Yeah, you literally have to roll around into it. But
Yeah, you have to roll into it.
The modern around the waist kilt is very easy. It's usually between 2 and 3 straps that you just have to, feed through one hole in the side and buckle, and then feed through the other buckle.
Right. This duty kilt that we had made for Carmichael is pretty easy to slip on. You just get into it, and you're off and running.
Yep, pretty much. Now, one thing that I don't remember seeing Scotty in Wrath of Khan was I did not look at his boot, because most Celts will have socks with a pin that has their tartan on it as well.
Yep.
But in the sock is usually a little dagger called a skin dew, because tradition dictates that a Scotsman is never unarmed. So normally they have this little tiny dagger that they slip in their socks. So if you ever watch like the Mummers Parade or the St. Patrick's Day Parade, watch a pipe and drum band and you'll see this little tiny jewel sticking out from the top of their socks.
Oh.
That's actually the pommel of the skin dew.
I'm going to have to mention that to our guy that plays Carmichael, because he's been putting all of this together and he insisted that it's accurate. And so I'm going to have to make sure he does that.
Well, hey, if you need help, let this particular Scotsman help you in any way he can, eh?
All right, then. No problem.
All right, then. You see, I also do a wee presentation for my old 6th grade history teacher on the arms and honour of the Middle Ages, and in which case I actually have this wee bit of Scottish accent I put on. And by the way, I have most of the colloquialisms down right. At least
that's
so
great.
I'm told.
That's fucking great. But the thing is, you need to listen to our Carmichael, because he nails it every time.
There's a
All
word
right.
that no one else uses. F-E-C-K.
Feckin'.
Feckin'.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no Americans use it.
No.
Oh, I do, because I hang out with my friend David, he's the guy I told you guys about a while ago that makes beautiful chainmail jewelry. He's a mailsmith, and he makes this incredibly beautiful chainmail jewelry. In fact, he made a headdress for our alien that we shot for.
Well, it would just be weird if he was a female smith.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
But he made a beautiful headdress for the alien that we have in the episode that we've already got in the can, and I can hardly wait for you guys to see it. Oh my God, it's just beautiful work. His name's David Stouse. He plays our engineer on the Challenger. And the man does an impeccable Scottish accent. He does a terrific job. So. And I killed the room again.
No, you didn't kill the room. I'm just thinking about calling last call.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up.
Wow, it's that time already.
It's that time again.
It's that time again. Last call. Anybody got anything?
Well, let's see. I did a coloring contest for the first time in years.
What crayon do you use?
Well, the only kind of crayons, asshole.
Okay.
Crayola, man.
Okay, just asking.
Jeez. Rubble.
Rubble.
I did that.
Use anything but Crayola. You're not using real crayons.
So-
Sorry.
Artist was doing this contest, and his name is Psycho-san. It was
How does
known
that sound
for
familiar?
he's a professional animator. I think. I mean,
I put it on screen. Look what you did.
yeah, no, I did Star Trek Discovery. Great. Oh, that's
No,
what
no.
Nice.
There it is.
Yeah, I did that thing. Okay, that was a bad phrase. Oops. Phrasing.
Crazy.
Yeah,
You did that. You did all the colors in that.
Yes.
You came in that thing?
I see what you did there.
21
Adorable.
things that sound dirty in Star Wars that really aren't.
Yeah, the only thing that I really didn't do for it was the Overwatch emblem behind her head and the background. That is a screenshot provided from the game by Blizzard.
Oh,
on
cool.
on the Overwatch website,
Excellent.
as was the Overwatch emblem or logo or whatever. And I just manipulated it so it looked like it was done with colored pencil and whatnot, and because it's boring otherwise.
I'm impressed.
Nice.
What
I
I
am
really
really
wanted,
impressed, dude.
what I really wanted was
Really
a
nice.
location from, she's South Korean. I wanted a screenshot from South Korea. They don't have one yet. They have China, but it was too dark.
Well, it's really nice modeling and painting. Beautifully
Yeah,
done.
good job. That's one of your best color pieces I think I've ever seen you do. That's
Well.
not saying that what you do is bad. That's a really, really well done piece.
Well, the competitions. There's some other really good ones out there. I mean, basically, you take the line art that Psycho-san provided, and you color it in, and the deadline is on the 15th. And it took me 3 days. I was working on this off and on. And should you win, he will give you a free sketch, which I would love to get some from him. But if I don't,
Oh yeah, man.
then well, some of the colors out there, I'm like, ooh, you're blending so damn good. Seriously, there's a couple of them. It's like, that's the kind of blending I want to do. And I haven't got it yet. But that was my last call thing. I don't really have anything geeky-wise, unless...
Oh, okay.
I guess Overwatch counts as geeky.
That's pretty geeky. It's game involved.
I don't really have anything.
I'm not
Myself.
up on my comics, so I can't really say anything. Just that I know that the Batman titles are getting really weird.
Oh,
Well, I've got
the Dawn of Justice or something, with the metal tie-in.
Yeah, it's just odd.
I did not buy that book today.
well,
That
I've
and
got
the reveal of who Mr. X was, or whatever his name was.
Oz.
Mr. Oz.
That story's weird.
Yeah.
I did read. I didn't. Well, I glanced at. I didn't read an article regarding that. Apparently, someone pitched a Hellfire Club television series to Fox, and
Because
they turned it down because it would have been too expensive.
oh, that's always their excuse.
a Hellfire, as in like X-Men's Hellfire.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how that can get expensive real quick. It's a lot of powers involved. Oh! I didn't talk about the Inhumans.
Wow,
Oh, yeah.
I watched it.
I'm
completely
really
ignored it.
I'm really upset about who Mr. Oz is.
You didn't know?
I just looked at the article.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was like, yeah, they revealed who it was, and I myself was a little like, what?
That's
it was
totally
one
out
of-
of left field.
Yeah, because you expected it to be Ozymandias or somebody from the Watchmen because they keep teasing that, and Rorschach and Dr. Manhattan and everything, and then all of a sudden it's Jor-El.
Maybe we should save Inhumans for next week, because there'll be another episode then.
Yeah, there'll be another episode. I will just say, you know what? I watched it, and I don't know if that's exactly what was on screen when they showed it in theaters, It wasn't that bad. It wasn't theater worthy because the effects were kind of touch and go here and there, but it wasn't bad. And it does tie in to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like they kept saying it wouldn't. They actually refer to the Inhumans on Earth as an offshoot. They are not true Inhumans. They are new humans. They talk about the what's the word I'm looking for? The poisoning of the oceans. They talk about the
Terrigenous.
Terrigen, all of that kind of. They talk about all of that, and they I mean, it's obviously part of. I mean, it's coinciding with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they'd make mention that the Inhumans, quote unquote, that live on Earth are because of that are being spawned by this Terrigen in the fish and in the waters and stuff are not true Inhumans. So there's that. We'll see. Rebels comes out next week? 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now.
10 days, I think.
10 days, something to that effect. More geeky stuff on the horizon. Within the next 5 or 6 days, 4 or 5 days, we should see a trailer for Star Wars and hopefully some more artwork and stuff coming out. And
Oh God, yes, please.
get all excited about that.
How many more days till Ragnarok?
We got November 14th, I think.
Oh, it's killing me, man.
And Justice League is 2 weeks after that.
Oh, also killing me.
So we have that to talk about. We got that to look forward to. So unless there is nothing else, the bar's closed, guys.
So
Oh, my
home.
gin.
You can't stay here.
Well, fine. I'm gonna.
I
hit
wasn't
the
going to say
store.
that, but glad you did.
I'll hit the all-night liquor store then.
All right. Well, on that note,
That poor
I'm going to say
gin.
goodnight.
No, that poor store. Why are you hitting it?
Yeah. Don't forget Qui-Gon's gin, only gin to use. And by use, I mean pour down the drain and buy some vodka.
At least you didn't try to pour down the Pepsi. Them's would have been fighting words.
Them's would have been fighting words.
Rubble.
Well, you know Coke is the better drink because no one ever says, hey, give me a Jack and Pepsi.
Burn.
That's not a burn. The burn is the Coke as it goes down your throat. That's why they use it. It's an acid. It's the only thing that counteracts each other in the rum. It's been melting it down to make it better.
This is my closing statement for the show. What does a Romulan frog use for camouflage?
A croaking
A
device?
croaking device.
Ah, you're
Oh, the pain. The pain.
It's not even a pun. It's just a bad joke.
Yeah, that's why I did the old Jonathan Harris.
A skeleton walks into a bar. He orders a beer and a mop.
Dad jokes, really? All right.
I have a joke I heard, but I'll save it for after the show.
Okay. We're out. 3, 2, 1. Lights
Goodbye.
are off. See ya.
Who turned out the lights?
I can't see a damn thing. What the hell?
Somebody's touching my butt.
Take the bag off,
Damn.
man.
Where's the damn door? Does somebody have a flashlight or a lighter or something?
I think Wolfie has a flashlight.
No, I don't.
I'm not touching that.
That was uncalled
Thanks for joining us at the Geek EZ. We have some big changes coming down the road, but to find out about them, you have to hit that subscribe button. You could also follow us on Facebook and Twitter to find out what's new and what's coming down the road. So do us a favor, subscribe.
Okay.